Okay, so Rufai shouting that Norths are the real kingmakers. Let us quickly go into history and see how Obasanjo won the 2003 election. Yeah, as you can see on my screen, as you can see that from what we have here, all the way from the Middlebelt down to the south, southeastern, southwest, Obasanjo was able to get 24 million, while Buhari scored 12.49, approximately 12.49 million. And what does that mean? This simply means that a person like Peter Obi, who in the last election did not, not really bad, can win an election in Nigeria without the Rufais, without the Buharists, as it were. If you take a look at that map again, you will see that all the way from Plateau to your left, Kebbi, to your right, Bauchi, down to Taraba, down to the Kogi, Ilorin, Nasarawa, then to southwest, you can see that a candidate can always come from any of that region without the so-called Fulanis, issuing words of threat that no person, no man, no individual can become a Nigerian president if they do not endorse or vote for him massively. If Rufai comes out and be specific that they made Tinubu the president, I don't think anybody will agree. But it is insulting for Rufai to sit on an high horse and thinking he's dishing out orders and threats that nobody can become a president if the Norths do not vote for him. Now, for Rufai's information, and this information even goes beyond Rufai, this goes to all the Fulani caliphates, all the Fulani oligarchs, all the Fulani political juggernauts who think they are the kingmakers in the Nigerian politics. Here is the information, and here's the breaking news. The Middlebelt is not part of the North. Yes, and that is the politics Tinubu has understood it, and he has taken it upon himself that since the likes of Rufai and since the likes of this Borno guy, Zulum, Shetima, because they are all working in cahoot. You can see that Shetima has been quiet. They know what they are doing. When the likes of Atiku has them as the mole in Tinubu's government, trying to ensure they hit him right from inside like a log of wood with what? With crickets. You get the point? So Tinubu has seen that if I rely on these guys, because I am not ready to do their biddings, I am not ready to be at their beck and call, because I will not watch and allow the Sultan to achieve his agenda, to Islamize, to Fulanize, and of course to Sharianize the whole of South. I am a liberal Muslim, and that is what the Yorubas have always been known for. Understandably, we have some, little Yorubas who are Muslim extremists, but they are in their minority. And we can see how the Sultan has tried to just pack up that religious divide, whereby those minority extremists who live in the Yoruba land have been sort of speaking up, trying to be vocal. But I like what they've done. They've silenced them and they've sent a stern warning to Sultan. In fact, I'm going to get to that point in my conversation. Let me go back to this issue of Rufai. So you can see, Tinubu has seen this and he has said, okay, what are we going to do? What is the weakest link in this Fulani hegemony? And he has seen that the weakest has always been where the attacks has always been recurrent, and that is in the Middlebelt. And this includes the Plateau, this includes the Nasarawa, this includes Kogi, Niger. Okay, Niger to some extent are defeated because the governor has come out to say that, well, we welcome Fulanis, but the Kogi the plateau, the Nasarawa have always said no. We are not in any way related, affiliated, similar. We do not think like those that reject Western education. We are civilized, developed, we are Christians, and we are people who are progressive. We don't want to be stuck in that Muhammad jihadism system of government. We are progressive in nature. We want to be adaptive to the new technologies that is happening around the world. And this is why you see that Tinubu has now opened a developmental commission. He has also pushed some few political agendas, appointing the CDS from Southern Kaduna. The Southern Kaduna people today are beginning to see themselves as a real owner of their territory. They are no longer lost voices. You can see them. Tinubu came out and he has inaugurated a federal government university for Southern Kaduna. These are all games, and these are the things that are throwing the likes of Rufai off balance. It is throwing them off balance. They cannot believe what is happening to them. It's more or less like they are confused. Asking the question, you rode on our back of this Muslim ticket. If Tinubu was a Christian, you wouldn't have seen the likes of Rufai and so many other people that stood still behind Tinubu during that campaign period. I think why Tinubu remained to be a Muslim all along was just for only this goal to deceive the North. I think that is the only reason why he stood, why he remained, because he doesn't act like a true Muslim. Ever since he became president, we started seeing him going to mosque every Friday, and then they make it a photo op thing. You know, they always show it as a photo showcasing. When Tinubu wasn't the president, we hardly see him in mosques. We only know on paper that he's a Muslim. Most times we see Tinubu going to church. We see him, his wife and his sons. You know, we hardly hear him being a religious, serious follower or a practitioner. What we know is he's a married Muslim. He doesn't care. No true practicing Muslim that believes in the Hadith and Quran principles that will allow his wife to practice any other religion. It is only in the Yoruba land you will see such. You don't see such in the north. You won't see such in Dubai or Saudi Arabia. It is only in the Yoruba land wherein they practice this liberalized Islamism. And this is why, you know, they felt maybe Tinubu would become, having gained the support of the Sultan and the Fulanis in their large majority, maybe when he gets there, when they start pushing some religious agenda to him, then maybe they will be able to have that completion of their conquest that they started in 1804. But Tinubu has come out to say that, yes, I saw what Pantani wrote. Pantani, as at 2010, wrote that the jihad must expand into Jos, because Jos seems to be the stopping block, the hurdle, the bottleneck that has been impeding the further expansion of Islam. And this dates even before 2010. But Pantani came out, he wrote a communique with an instruction there that is destructive, that all the religion institution that is not Islam should be taken down, and a small portion of land at the borderline should be selected for them, and they all should be moved because they do not deserve to be at the center of the city, because all the north should be seen as one and they all should be state practicing Sharia. Pantani was a guy who controlled the digital informations of Nigeria in the last 8 years under Buhari. Under Buhari, we saw how there were serious attacks on Christian farmers. Shortly before Buhari came on board, let me take you back to what I mean, that this Islamic agenda was aggressively pushed under Buhari. These same farmers who were under Jonathan that submitted their farm locations, their house address and phone numbers when Akiwumi Adesina was mapping out farmers in the Nigerian, territory. They collected those things. They said they were collecting their database. When Pantani came on board, there are serious allegations that the only way those vandals, those insurgents, bandits, and those terrorists could able to have that, laser precise location mapping of those farms was because somehow they got access to those data that is submitted in the past during the era of Buhari. And when we juxtapose, extrapolate, we concord, and we try to come to a resolution that Pantani all one time came out, issued threat, not just vocal threat, written one, stating out that the North must be, in the next 10 years, have full Islam institutions, and all of them must be practicing Sharia, including the Middlebelt. And under him, we started seeing attacks, even in that Middlebelt. The Bokos, the Mantus, the Lantang, all of them were attacked incessantly. We saw how Benue almost became overboard. I mean, Benue, in fact, the governor was attacked on several occasions. So you see the agenda that, okay, this is one thing that we think Tinubu can push ahead because he's a Muslim. We are comfortable to hand it over to him, and when he comes in, probably with the help of the Sultan and some Islamic hegemonics, oligarchs who helped to campaign for Tinubu in mosques during that campaign period, when they ask him one or two requests, he will probably push. Look at Tinubu in the last 2 years he has been in government. The ulamas, the sheikhs have paid more visit to him than the Christians. Since Tinubu became the president, the Muslim sheikhs, at least, I'm going to count it, they have visited Tinubu not less than 10 to 12 times. When the issue of Sultan started, when the issue of Sharia being pushed in the Southwest, we saw a very powerful imam, sheikh, I think they said he's from Mali or thereabouts, who paid a visit to Tinubu. Don't know what they discussed, but I believe if you speculate, we might end on the same, on the same page. Because they say the witch cries yesterday, the child dies today, everybody points their finger to the witch that she is responsible. The Yorubas cried, they didn't want Sharia. The Sultan came out and cried. We know, and then the next thing we saw some men, whether from Senegal or Mali, paying a visit in their large numbers. So we know what is going on. And this is why they are doing everything to topple, to unseat. But Tinubu is trying to outsmart them. I am not a supporter of Tinubu, but my own goal is simple. Nigeria cannot be Islamized. Nigeria will remain a secular state or divide. Nigeria divides, or it remains a true secular state where there's what we call religious freedom. In a place where we start having a divide along religious belief, then the best solution is what the Biafrans have been calling for the past 50-something years. They have been calling that they cannot coexist. That the North, even before the amalgamations, have always been under the Sharia law, and they don't seem to want to change or bend. They don't want to compromise their religious belief. The same thing happens to us in the South, most especially in the Southeast, because the Southwest is compromised. Religiously, the Southwest is compromised. I have read so many communiques by defenders of Yoruba movement saying that Yoruba cannot be under the rule or the leadership of the Sultan. But I bet you Yoruba movement conveyors or whatever your name is, If you go into the street of any Yoruba land, try and meet 10 people, you see out of those 10 people, 3 to 4 will tell you they're Muslims and they know that the Sultan is a religious leader. They've accepted it. So you coming out to say that you're speaking for the Yorubas in their entirety, it is not actually true. Because when you bring 1 million Yorubas, if 400 are saying they want to believe in the Sultan, you are broken. So that means that you have been compromised religiously by the Fulanis. But looking at the Southeast, they have always been steadfast and firm. Well, without me not bringing out some loopholes, because I can see Hegemony seems to be infiltrated by this, by these jihadists. Because I can see that the governor of Hegemony is doing everything possible to protect the interests of the Muslims. He's doing everything possible to finance, the Islam expansionist agenda. Because I can see he's spending almost 1 billion to send people to jihad, where they have no good roads, where they have no good hospitals, where they have no good schools, where they have no access to pipe-borne water, where they have no access to constant electricity. But a person like Francis Uwafono thinks that spending almost 1 billion to sponsor people to Hajj, the people he's sponsoring are not Fulanis, the people he's sponsoring are Igbos, but of course, whatever his agenda is, I think he is pushing the interests of the Fulanis, and of course, for political gains. And I think that is one of the greatest weak link in the Southeast. So you can see, coming through the weak link, the Yoruba's weak link was Ilorin, and they defeated Ilorin. Now another weak link is Oyo and Owo. Iwo in Osun State. And you can see what we have. Oyo wanted to establish a Sharia court, and that was what made Sultan of Sokoto to kick. That was what made him to speak up that the southern governors in their entirety should not suppress Islam. Trying to speak, I don't know what it means. Has there ever been a time the South has suppressed a religion? I think he should be the one, he should look himself and probably understand that he is the hypocrite. Because we have seen so many instances, the likes of Deborah were lynched to their death by their soldiers, their religious infantry. We didn't see Sultan come out to speak against the unjustifiable killings of Deborah. We didn't see him speak against the incarceration of Rhoda. We didn't see him speak against the beheading of that Redeemed Church member who was attacked and put to a early death by Sharia, protector, as they are called. We didn't see Sultan do that. So we must understand that Tinubu has seen all this agenda. He has understood them perfectly, and he has made it a point that, okay, the weakest point in that north, as they call it today, is the North Central. I will give them a recognition. I will give them a voice. I will give them a developmental institution. I will finance them. I will work with them in the Nigerian army. Imagine the CDS is a connotator, someone from Sokoto or Katsina. Have you ever imagined that? We can see that the bandit leaders are dropping their guns in the recent times. We can see there has been aggressive fight, in the southern Kaduna, which has now returned. Some high level of peace. We can see there's less noise about bandit attack in Jos. We can see that to some large extent that those attacks have been reducing. Okay? Yes, but imagine if the CDS wasn't a Christopher Musa, wasn't a Christian, was someone from that corner, let's say Zamfara, someone who believes, sternly, deeply into the Sharia agenda. What do you think? How do you think his judgment will have been? Do you think that attack, that repel of the terrorists will have been this effective? So these are the things Tinubu saw. He said it upon himself. I will dismantle these guys right from their center. I'm going to take them right from the heart. When I take them from that heart, when I pull out Middlebelt, just as Obasanjo did in 2003, when I do that, and when I can secure the Kogi, because there is nothing more important to those Middlebelters than they having that liberation from the Fulani hegemony. You know, I mean, listen, Tinubu is not doing well, but he is politicizing everything to dismantle the Fulanis. Their rule, okay, they have been the overlords across all those places, and they are sensing it, and they are scared. Okay, they are scared. They know. They know how much they've tried to ensure that the Middle Beltans do not have a voice. I repeat, I've never seen when the Middle Beltans have become so vocal until Tinubu came on board. They love him right now. Go online, go to the social media, go into the street of the Middle Belt, go and see how they are singing the praises that Tinubu must continue, because he seems to be the only one that understands our plight. And this extends to Nasarawa, Kogi, Niger. And when those people give 80% of their vote, the statement of Rufai that without them nobody will become president is what? Demystified and trashed. Bye for now.